Hey hockey player, in this video, I'm going to show you some scientifically proven supplements to help take your hockey conditioning to the next level. Now, in this video, I'm going to offer the exact same disclaimer first before I get into it that I did in the supplements for hockey speed video. That is, you can't out-supplement a bad diet. Just like you can't out-train a bad diet, you can't out-supplement a bad diet either. Supplements are never the cornerstone of the diet, and instead they are supplementary to the diet as a whole. So to really hone all of your nutrition in, you've got to be focusing on your foods, and then once those are locked in and habitual in your lifestyle, then you can start incorporating some supplements to improve your hockey performance. But getting into this thing now here on the topic of conditioning, this making its return to the supplement videos here at Hockey Training, carbohydrate powder. Carbohydrate powder, because of its benefits towards both the muscular system and the nervous system, as outlined in the video I talked about in the supplements for hockey speed video, it impacts both hockey speed and hockey conditioning. So it's something that really can't be overstated. Carbohydrates are beneficial for hockey performance. Period. There's a lot of different diet approaches out there, and you can go with all of them except a low carbohydrate or ketogenic approach. Those in very, 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 very rare instances where a unique context of a unique biology and biochemistry of an individual is presented, maybe it may work for them. But in 99% of people, hockey athletes should be on moderate to higher carbohydrate diets because hockey is a glycolytic sport, meaning its preferred fuel source to actually feed that supply and demand chain for your performance out in the ice comes in the form of carbohydrate powder for both the nervous system and the muscular system. I can't explain that enough times. Hockey athletes improve performance when they get their carbohydrate intake and their carbohydrate timing on point. Carb powder, typically taken at a dose of anywhere from 20 to 40 grams during your game. But to dial this in even further, I would highly recommend checking out the video recorded a little while back called What to Drink During Hockey, or get the formulas over at hockeytraining.com/nutrition. Moving on, we've got beta-alanine. Beta-alanine, it is an amino acid, and it's actually a modified version of the amino acid L-alanine. When you modify L-alanine into beta-alanine, it has beneficial impacts on exercise performance on many different levels, but most specifically towards conditioning. What essentially happens from a biochemistry perspective is beta-alanine is converted into an amino acid known as L-carnosine. Carnosine is actually stored within your muscle cells. So you store this amino acid in your muscle cell, and then it is released and utilized once the pH level of the muscle begins to drop, i.e. gets too acidic. So you take beta-alanine to convert it into L-carnosine to store it within the muscle cell. And then once that muscle is reaching a state of acidosis due to you being out in the ice skating your butt off, that's when the carnosine is going to be slowly drip released from the muscle in order to neutralize the pH, thus buffer any type of acidosis within the muscle cell and allow you to go harder, longer. This is the kind of supplement that helps give you those fresh legs that you need out in the ice and get rid of the heavy legs that you feel very often. So this is very effective, typically taken at a dose of 2 to 4 grams during training. But on non-training days, you can have it really whenever you want. But 2 to 4 grams seems to be the ideal dose to get the maximum benefits of beta-alanine. And some of you might be thinking, oh, okay, I understand your explanation with beta-alanine being converted to carnosine and stored in the muscle, but why don't we just take out the middleman? Why don't we just supplement with carnosine directly? That's being explored in the literature, and it's strange because beta-alanine increases muscular storage of carnosine more efficiently than carnosine itself. Carnosine seems to get degraded through the digestive tract before it's actually stored within the muscle cell, whereas beta-alanine is converted very efficiently and stored in the muscle cell. So 2 to 4 grams of beta-alanine and not carnosine to get the maximum benefits here. And beta-alanine, if you've ever taken a pre-workout before, if you've ever supplemented with beta-alanine before, you might get tingles in your skin, almost like a tingly, kind of itchy feeling for some people. This is a side effect of beta-alanine, but it's also a harmless side effect. It's known as paresthesia. Paresthesia is something that happens that gives you that tingly feeling, but it really just lets you know that your beta-alanine is legit. It's a pure product. It is what it says it's going to be, which is sometimes questionable in the supplement industry. So that tingly feeling, although uncomfortable for some, should go away with repeated use, daily use over time. But it's important to understand that that is harmless, and that's well documented that it is harmless. So beta-alanine, very excellent for conditioning because it increases anaerobic outputs most effectively between the durations of 45 to 120 seconds. So really replicating a hockey shift very efficiently, increasing your conditioning and your endurance outputs during those zones. But because it helps during the 45 to 120 second anaerobic output window, it's also been demonstrated to improve performance between the 8 and 15 rep range when you're in the gym. So it's something that can help with your conditioning on the ice, but it's also something that's been linked to helping you build more muscle when you're training, because you're able to do 1 to 2 more reps than you otherwise could have. Very well researched, very beneficial, very safe supplement for hockey players that's more direct for your exact performance needs. Moving on, we got sodium bicarbonate, which actually is baking soda. That is baking soda. Sometimes supplement companies will try and sell you something wildly expensive and call it sodium bicarbonate because people don't really know that that is just baking soda that you can get super cheap. But there is excellent science behind it. Essentially, you take sodium bicarbonate so that you elevate serum levels in your body of bicarbonate. Sodium's utilized as sodium in the body. Done. It's really just a carrier to get bicarbonate, serum levels elevated within the body, and bicarbonate offers a very similar outcome as beta-alanine, but just through a different pathway. It helps neutralize pH balance within muscle cells and protect against the effects of acidosis. So because of this, it's being demonstrated to improve endurance outputs in both anaerobic and aerobic bouts of exercise, which is well-rounded and excellent. But because it fights against acidosis so effectively, it's even been used as an antioxidant and been used in anti-aging therapy as well, because as we age, we become more acidic, certain things happen. Not really relevant for hockey performance, but kind of cool as an added note. How much does somebody need of sodium bicarbonate to get a benefit? Well, the typical effective research doses are between 200 and 300 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Huge asterisk here. Although it's beneficial for a lot of the things I just mentioned, a lot of test subjects run into gastrointestinal distress issues. So they get gastrointestinal discomfort. They may need to go to the bathroom a lot quicker. They may be burping. They may get bloated or distended. There's a varying degrees of gastrointestinal symptoms that you see from test subjects in the literature. So although it's safe for consumption and effective for hockey performance, the gastrointestinal outcome seems to be very individual based upon the person. So what I would recommend is having 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium bicarbonate, about 30 to 90 to 30 minutes prior to exercise will get you in the right zone for efficacy towards improving performance. But I would recommend 200 to 300 milligrams and test it out on an event that's not very important, right? You would want to make sure you don't get gastrointestinal problems. I would have this like maybe before a workout or have it maybe before a practice. something like that. Don't have this for the first time ever before a playoff game. Don't have this the first time ever on a tournament, because you might find out that it causes problems for you, and you don't really want to find that out during a very impactful and important game, okay? So try it out on something non-consequential. Beta-alanine does a lot of the same things anyways without the gastrointestinal distress issues, but bicarbonate does work through a different pathway, so combining the two I feel is better than going with either alone, but make sure that you test that one out. Can't emphasize that enough, which leads me to my last recommendation here, which is electrolytes. A lot of people think hydration is just water, but that's false, right? Hydration, the definition of hydration isn't water. It's hydration is actually getting those those water molecules into the cell, and that only ever happens with electrolytes. Hydration equals water plus electrolytes, not just water. And I want to emphasize this so much here, because if you look at every single hockey bench in the world, it's just water bottles. And although that's fine, it is better to have electrolytes. And allow me to kind of bring forward an obscene example here. Let's say you had a dead frog in front of you right now, okay? If you sprinkle salt on that dead frog's legs, his legs are actually going to start to twitch. Why? Because sodium causes muscular contraction. You see this sometimes in Asian cuisine, pouring soy sauce on tentacles and the tentacles start moving. Well, it's because the soy sauce is very high in sodium, and that causes that reaction. But with the dead frog, you sprinkle that salt in his legs and they're going to start to contract. Now, if you have that same dead frog in front of you and he's contracting from the sodium, but now you sprinkle some potassium on his legs are going to actually relax. And that's because sodium causes muscular contraction, but potassium causes muscular relaxation. We need both, because sodium's required for maximum contractual velocities of our muscle. But what's a contraction without a relaxation? It's a cramp. You're cramped up now. That's why we need enough potassium to balance out the sodium, so we don't get stitches out in the ice, so we don't get cramps while we're on the bench. You know, you'll see a lot of athletes will have bananas in between hockey periods, or you even see NFL athletes consuming bananas on the sidelines on TV. Why? So they can decrease their risk for hamstring cramps, because that's really common in football. But potassium's very high in bananas, and that's what's helping facilitate that effect to happen. But what's most important here, to take me all the way back to electrolytes impacting hydration, is electrolytes is what actually facilitates whether or not water gets in and out of the muscle cell. So you can have all the water in the world, but if you don't have enough electrolytes to get through that cell wall and actually hydrate the muscle cell, then you're not going to get the performance benefits from water. Water is huge. If you just have a 1% decrease in total body water, you decrease your total cardiovascular endurance. If you have a 2% decrease in total body water, you decrease your muscular endurance. If you have a 3% decrease in total body water, you decrease your muscular strength. And if you have a 4% decrease in total body water, then you actually decrease your coordination and your mental capacity, and you increase your risk for cramps. So quick recap, because I talk pretty fast, right? A 4% decrease in total body water results in an increased risk for cramps, decreased coordination, decreased mental capacity, decreased strength, decreased muscular endurance, and decreased cardiovascular output. This means regardless of your genetics, of your talent, of your training, of your diet, of your sleep last night, regardless of any of that, hydration is an independent factor for hockey performance. Wildly crucial to get this on point, isn't it? We need water and electrolytes. So I recommend sodium and potassium, ideally in a 1-to-1 ratio during a hockey game. Anywhere from 100 to 200 milligrams of both seems to be the good trick there. But in all of those performance things I just talked about in terms of dehydration and their negative implications on performance, a lot of them had to do with conditioning. You'll directly decrease your anaerobic and aerobic conditioning if you're not properly hydrated. And if you're only drinking water, it's kind of a question mark as to whether you are truly hydrated or not. Very important to understand. So if you want to increase your hockey conditioning and your diet's already perfect, check out carb powder, beta-alanine, sodium bicarbonate, and electrolytes. Once again, I don't recommend supplementation for anybody under 15. If you are under 15, carbohydrate powder, whey protein isolate, super basic things, those are okay. But ideally, supplementation should only be added to a hockey athlete's regime if they have a great hockey diet already and they are over 15 years old and they have the budget and the readiness in order to start incorporating some of this into their life. All right? I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I was able to teach you something about real nutrition for hockey-specific results. If you like this video, make sure you smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel as well. And if you want to take your conditioning to the next level, use all these tools for all the benefit that they can provide you, then click on the link in the comment section below because I've got a free Relentless conditioning package that you gotta check out.